Aha, we are live. Welcome back to the Luxury Live Show. It's me, Kat, and of course, I have with me fashionably Amy, my co-host. And yeah, thanks for joining us today. We have, I think for the OG luxury lovers, you've been buying bags for umpteen years. This would be like, "Nah, I know," but we do have, new members, new watchers. So it's actually a good refresher. We think of it like a refresher, right? We're going to talk about red flags before you buy your first luxury bag. Or actually, you could even apply it to continuously buying your luxury
any
bag, right?
bags. Yeah.
Any bag, but particularly for your first, because I guess there is that excitement, that euphoria of, getting that first one and putting a chunk of money in it, where we get a little blinded, right? Like, oh, we didn't see this until it's in our possessions. And then, with luxury, you can't, unless it's LV, but you can't return it. Or unless if you're in America, actually here you can't return any luxury. So that's a lot of money to feel bad about, right? Okay, so we have some slides. Let me open.
It's like a relationship. When you're at the beginning of a relationship, you're just getting to know each other and dating. You can't see the flaw in each other yet. And you will make excuses for the other person, like, oh yeah, maybe it's just that or whatever, and you always overlook it. And I feel like it applies to bags, especially. It's sort of like a similar analogy, because when you're so obsessed and you want something so bad that you've been after it, you will overlook some of the flaws, or you might not even see it at first.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
What's that noise? Is that?
Do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it. We hear it.
Dude, like the whole morning, nothing, and then suddenly go bang.
It's construction,
I hope it doesn't
right?
go on.
What is that?
That's renovation upstairs. What
Okay,
the?
yeah. Construction. Like, yeah, they're ooh, bad timing.
Like exactly when the luxury live show starts, you start drilling. Bro. So I might have to mute myself. Okay. Yeah, so you'll see me going on and off, yeah. So apologize. Hopefully the fellow stops. Maybe he's just drilling a hole for a painting. Who knows? Okay. So we've got some slides. As usual, we'll just quickly go through the calendar. So today is, we call it like picking out your first bag, but as we were saying, it applies throughout our lifetimes. We sometimes overlook it. Tomorrow we do have a members live. We're going to talk about pre-spend. Maybe there's going to be a little reveal. We're going to have some chat. Okay, tomorrow's a chit-chatty one. And remember, it starts at 8 a.m., new timing. Next week is also members. We're going to go through the new collection, Metadata collection. And yeah, we thought we'd make it a members live and chat about it. So many things coming up. All right. So we split the kind of discussion, and then, I've seen Amy's, and I think Amy's, I just shared with you. Mine's sort of like the general. So we have two parts: general red flags, and then we've got the one that's really detailed, the one where you actually, after you pass the general red flags, you kind of like, okay, let's check out the bag itself. Okay. So we want to hear also from your experience, what are some of your red flags? Like what you deem as, you got to watch out first before you make that big investment. So from your experience, please comment in the chat as well. All right, let's talk about the first one. This one. But today, the way I've done it is today's day and age, not years and years and years ago, but today's day and age. I'm telling you, if as an influencer bag, it's a red flag. And I could be shooting myself in the foot, but it's true. If you see a bag that is flooded, okay, on social media, it doesn't mean it's not a good bag. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy it, but it's a red flag. You gotta just, the way I interpret it is, you gotta wait a little bit. Just, the hype, the craze, just give yourself that space, because when it's an influencer bag, it's because you see psychology, right? You see it so much on your socials. You might think you like it, and you might think you need it as well. So it is a red flag.
It is. It's sort of like, again, because you're kind of blinded, right? So you have to ask yourself, do you like this bag, or do you want this bag because you kept seeing it, therefore you want it because everyone else has it too? Or do you truly love the bag because of the bag, right? So you could still love an influencer bag. There's no problem with that. But
Yes.
you really have to like ask yourself whether you're loving it for the right reasons, or from the not necessarily the wrong reasons, but maybe it's not really because of your true love for the bag, but just because it's popular. So
Mm.
I mean, other than the what's this bag again? What's this bag called again?
Saddle.
Yeah, other
Dior
than the
saddle.
saddle bag,
So
there were several ones that I can think of off of the top of my head, like the ones that were kind of recent, like the Prada crystal,
oh
the
yeah. Oh,
LV
that's not really,
Muji
that wasn't
pochette.
given out though. That wasn't
No,
given. Oh,
but
but yeah, true,
influencer
true.
doesn't mean that they were given out, but like it
Good
could
point.
still be like very popular among the influencers, right?
Yeah.
Um, they could still have purchased it themselves. Oh, you know what? The Prada one, I do wonder if maybe because the Prada one, the first one was the nylon one. So I do
Mm.
wonder if those some of those ones were gifted. Again, we have no issues with gifted, not gifted. Doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
just you have to ask yourself whether you love it because you keep seeing it, or you just really love it. So yeah, there
Agreed.
were so
Agreed.
many in the past recent years that even we get influenced. I get influenced quite easily sometimes.
Yeah.
um
And there's another one I remember. Uh, the not capucine. Sorry, the one that I got into it. The pillow one. The
oh
LV.
yeah, Cousin.
The Kusant bag, yeah, the
Yeah.
cushion bag. Now, it for a moment it was a spike. So you'll notice influencer bags, like Amy said, it's not about being gifted or they bought it, but it's just because at that point in time, that period of 6 months, it is just insanely in your face, right? You see it everywhere. You go, when you go to the stores, everybody's talking about it. You see it on your socials, your YouTube, and it's like double-edged sword. It could work for you, but at the same time, it might not. So with these kind of red flags, I feel for is to wait, because if it continues like on and on and on, and you see after a while when that hype dies down and you say, I think I really love it, then you buy it. And even if the price goes up, say 10%, 20%, it's better to pay that higher price when you're sure than to pay the full amount. And when you sell it, because it's no longer an influencer bag, you lose
Mhm.
more than 50%. So you got to sort of like weigh out that a little bit more. I pay a little bit more. I can't pay whatever. Can't pay the original price. These ones you just have to just hang on a little bit, and you'll see them. I mean, I'm sure all of us have experienced. Give you another one, the Bobby bag, the Dior Bobby bag. Did you
Oh
remember? It
yeah.
was everywhere. It was everywhere. I was like, now, no, who carries it? Okay, so that's the first one. So an influencer bag. Okay, this is another one that I think in today's day and age, really it's a red flag. When you hear the word limited edition, it's like
Mhm.
blah blah. Last time, I mean, in the early years, when you see the word limited edition, luxury houses truly make it limited edition. Like you never see it again, or there's something quite special. But now it's everywhere. They just use the word limited edition to psychology, right? Just get you like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But next thing you know, 2 months later there'll be another one. So it's not special anymore, this word. It's more like a money grab. So it is a red flag.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they could still be limited editions, but it just feels like, oh, it just there's so many launches and so many capsule collections that it doesn't feel as special anymore. I think
Mm-hmm.
before it used to feel a lot more spaced out. And I think there were some limited editions that were very, very memorable and that people are still kind of sought after, like the LV cherry one, or like the
Mm,
LV what's the other one from LV? Oh, the
mm,
multicolor ones. So those are kind of special. And they really did it once only. And I just felt like they were just not so repeated so fast.
correct,
Um
correct.
Now
I have in
I don't know.
this
Yeah.
picture that look at the bottom right, bottom right, yeah, that sequin one. So they relaunched that purple one. Do you remember that? Was it last year?
Mhm.
And they said, okay,
Sex and
so
the City
that
bag.
was sort of like quote unquote special, right? Because then you're like, okay, the purple one is back, the dark purple, the Sex in the City one. But because it was so well done, like so, I mean, so well received, they created all other colors in the sequin in all sizes and all, mini size, a little SLG, and then chain, no chain, multiple colors, green, pink, blue, gold. And then you're like, wait, did I just chase down that purple one, all crazy, and now there's like a ton more? It loses, and then they still call it limited edition. And then you're like, uh, it
Mhm.
just loses that value, that you're gonna pay a little bit more premium when it's limited edition. And you would think that it would, quote unquote, hold some value in the future, or at least to you, it's special. Ah, it's
I know.
such a
Actually,
money grab.
another really good example that I just remembered is the Chanel. Like Chanel, when they come up with like a very special color, like the caramel or like
Mm,
that special gray, dove gray, like they used to just do that color once and it won't repeat until another 5 to 10 years. Now it seems like they repeat it every year, or even after every
every
few seasons.
season.
I know. And it's just like, okay, well, then the bag that I bought when it used to be supposedly like super special, like one of a kind color, is like always available now. Like it just feels like everyone has it now. And it's not a problem, I suppose, if, they make it more available. But it is, in fact, kind of, you could have not you could have waited, basically, right? You didn't have to be so FOMO about it. And at the end of the day, these limited editions, it just creates FOMO. It really does. And so again, you have to ask yourself whether you're after the limited edition or you're really in love with the bag. If
Hmm.
it's because of the FOMO feelings, maybe that's the wrong reason to go after them.
Yeah. So if you just join, it's not about we're saying don't buy them at all. They're red flags. It's just sort of like you have to take a step back first. And like a relationship, you like kind of know, you got some flaws, but I still love you anyway. It's sort of like that. You go in eyes wide open, and it's a different. Then there's a different expectation. But a lot of times we don't even see them. You go like, wow, and the next thing you know, when you have them in your possession, you're like, okay. So I just saw a very good one. We did not add this, but this is I'm putting a
That's a good
comment as
one.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe. I feel like I made all these mistakes. And to add on, also the mistake of buying bags that are too high maintenance for me. So this I would imagine is a bit like the material, whether it's lamb. Okay, lambskin is not always bad, but it tends to have a bit more. You need to be a bit more careful. Even this sequin one, right? The one in this picture, it's high maintenance. If you snag it, it's like gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. High maintenance, and like cloth bags, things like that. It's a red flag. Like if you can handle it, go ahead. But most people don't really know it, especially a first time buying, until you have it. You're like, I can't wear it here. I can't wear it in the rain. I can't wear it in my jacket. It'll rub. It's like, oh my goodness, why did I buy it in the first place? So thank you. That's a good one. Okay, next. Okay. Don't jump on me first. I'm not saying don't buy colored bags. Just saying multicolored bags. Multicolored, huh? If you see the pictures, you got this multi-rainbow Chanel, this LV pink, it's pastel, and it's just busy. Now, if you love busy and you can make it work for you, go ahead. It's not your red flag. But I think for general public, like general people, multicolor can seem extremely beautiful in the beginning. They just catch your eye. It's dreamy. It's fun. You can think, I'm going to justify, oh my gosh, it's going to elevate my look, blah, blah, blah. But it may not have longevity, and you might struggle to mix and match. You would think, oh my gosh, it's got so many colors, I can match it with so many colors. In reality, it's not that simple. That's where I'm coming from. And it's multicolored, it's big, it's busy.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to how, like this point, right? It's kind of like a subcategory of limited edition. It basically is, right? It's a seasonal color, which is like multicolor. So in a sense, it makes it limited edition for that season, and they might not repeat it super often. But I think the problem is you may not notice or may not realize that down the road, many years ago, maybe not even many years, months later, you might be tired of the fact that it's multicolored. I think that's the danger. It's not that multicolor is not beautiful, but I think a lot of us are a lot more conservative than we think we are.
Yeah.
And so, especially for your first bag, I think if you already are a person that wears all kinds of color, then that's your personality, no problem. But if you're not, and you're buying a multicolored bag because it looked nice to you, then that could be a red flag, right? You have to think really hard. Maybe it is okay to keep waiting and wait for the neutral or wait for the plain color. So yeah, sometimes it's also the timing, like you're just beyond yourself, too impatient because it's your first bag, you've been after it. But yeah, multicolor is, you could get tired of it easily. That's sort of like from personal experience as well.
And for me, I'm a good example of it because my style throughout the years have changed. Like I used to just love colors and everything, and not that I don't love it, but it's just that after a while, as sad as it sounds, you do turn out to be a little bit more. Over time, you can sort of like subdue yourself like a little bit because you're like, practicality will win over time. You just feel like maybe you would dress a different color, like maybe they put the colors on your tops or your jewelry or something, but the bag, because it's so prominent, you would, I feel, okay, I could be wrong, but I think majority of us will feel like it might be a bit too much for your style that evolves over time. And again, there are a lot of people out there as well that just love the whole multicolor, right? And that's your jam. But we are sort of saying that, there is a big majority of people that over time will be tired of this. So it's sort of like a reality check. When you see it, it's mind-blowingly gorgeous. But both of us are pretty sure that after a while, you might be like, hiya, a little hard to match my outfit. It's a little louder. So it'll end up in your closet. So it's sad, but yeah, it's the truth. Okay. Now, I could not find, I know this, the next one more before we go into the more detailed section. But I couldn't find more pictures, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Bags that are very busy. And look, I picked the neutrals, right? I didn't pick like busy like this. I'm talking about itself is just really busy. There's just a lot of things happening on the bag. So this is the one that I remember that gave me that inspiration. This one is the Kajol from Balenciaga. It's got a lot of things on it. It's got bigger knobs, rivets, and it's got strings coming out, and the handle has weaves, and then this bag in the middle is a Jimmy Choo, which has flowers sticking all over it, and then this one is an old style, right? This, I believe this is I believe it's Chloe. So a lot of things happening, right? Got big rivets, again, weaving, pockets everywhere. It's very busy, right? So two things can happen to busy bags. It's just, a little overwhelming, like just a lot of things happening. And also it can be heavier, right? You just got extra things that don't really serve the purpose for the bag. And yeah, I think you will get, again, tired of it. So another red flag. This cajole bag from Balenciaga was also an influencer bag. It has that everybody on TikTok and Instagram. I saw quite a bit, but then I don't see it anymore.
Yeah, I think anything busy is sort of like multicolor is also kind of busy that way because there's so many colors. Again, it boils down to your personality. If that's your personality, go ahead. But I think most of us, these are almost like influencer bags, in my opinion. Maybe not the middle one because that's just. Oh wait, that's a Jimmy Choo bag, right?
It
Yeah, that's
is.
a Jimmy Choo bag. I think the middle one is sort of acceptable, but again, it's more of an occasional bag. Yeah, definitely a red flag for sure. And with the strings coming out, it sort of reminds me of like tassels, like those
Mm,
cowboy jackets with the tassels. I always like, when I see it on the rack or wherever it's in trend and I see it, I always kind of like to look at it and play with it even and try it on. But I know myself, the moment I own it, I'll wear it a lot at the beginning, and then all of a sudden I'll stop wearing it because it'll get on my nerve. It's just like the fact that it's always
yes.
the same tassels. It almost feels like it looks dated, but it is a style. It is really a style, right? So you really have to embrace it. If that's part of you, go ahead. But I think for the rest of us, I would err on the more conservative side, especially for luxury these days. They're very expensive these days, and if you're still, on your hunt for your first bag, it's quite overwhelming. There's so much to choose from, and yet there are so many things that can go wrong. But then again, we all go through it, I guess, trial and error. But
Mm.
hopefully, this list will help you out a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a general list, and I like also this one from Joe is also sharing it. This is a good one, but I wasn't sure how to put it. Where you buy for someone else. Stop buying. Stop buying things. So actually, yeah, it's maybe not a red flag, like an amber flag, right? When you look at something and you're thinking about buying it, but you have another motive, like you're buying it because you like to buy stuff, but then you're buying it for someone else, like your kids or like me, my niece. Actually, you really don't know. You really don't know if they'll like it. It could be like this Chloe bag. Like if I think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna buy it for my niece, and 20 years later, it's like dated.
Or it's kind
Okay.
of like also, how you have the issue with buying red colored bags. You love the fact that it's red. You love the idea of red. And I too, I love the
Mm,
idea um of a tan, like a camel coat. I love that. I love the idea, but I
mm,
cannot wear camel color for the life of me. It just washes me out. And so it's sort of like sometimes you hold on to the ideal because it looks nice on others and it's still considered a neutral. Both the red pop of color and the camel coat is a super neutral. Like, how can it go wrong, right? But it can go wrong for you if it doesn't work for you. So it's sort of like that. Okay, details.
okay.
Details.
Yes, all right. This one I had to ask Amy, can you do it? Because I'm like, so I'm gonna learn some stuff here.
Well, you guys know I'm kind of like I think I can call myself the queen of picky, like being picky in a sense that I really care about the nitty-gritty stuff. I'm really nerdy that way. And I was explaining to Kat that the reason why I look at these details is maybe because I am perfectionist, but also because I come from a bit of sewing background. So when I sew, like if you sew all crooked, then it's not going to fit right. And it's going to look weird when you put it on. So same thing on a bag. If you sew it just a little bit crooked, or if you install the hardware or whatever, just a little crooked, it's going to be wonky. So those are things that I always pay attention. Like I try at least, right? Like again, because you could be blinded, you're kind of like looking over it too quickly, but try to take your time because it's thousands of dollars. So one of the first things that I look at is if the hardware in general is centered. So not only does it have to be in the center of the whole bag, but is it centered in within the quilting or within that little tab in front? So not only just the CC logos, but also the buttons, the main button and the button that goes on top of it. See, like on the flap, for example, if that little button is just a little bit on the left, then when you close the flap, it's going to be crooked to the left and it's going to go like this, diagonal a little bit. And then you're going to see a little bit of that edge on the right side. So little things like that. I even look at like where the handle is, like those hardware, whether it's installed on the middle, on top of those quilt on top. So sort of generally speaking, everything has to be centered. On top of that, with the CC logo, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that sometimes the CC can be just a little bit tilted, just a little. And that's enough to like really throw you off and just make the bag look not so perfect. Again, I know these things are supposedly handmade, but even when it's handmade, it can be close to perfect. You know, it's sort of like if it's off by maybe like 0.5 millimeter, it may be acceptable. But the moment it goes over a bit, or if it's tilted just enough that you notice it with the naked eye, then it will throw off the whole design and it will look awful. So these things we expect Chanel or and many luxury brands to do it right, because why? They cost thousands of dollars. It's a luxury house, so why shouldn't they? But unfortunately, lately we've been seeing so many quality issues. And by quality, we don't necessarily mean the quality of the material, raw material. It's also the craftsmanship. So yeah, is everything exactly in the center? Look at that. That's one of the first things that I look at.
Okay, I have to ask this question on this one. So, would you expect? All right, now I'm looking at these two pictures. Just hear me out first. Now I see the one on the bottom is, to me, looks perfect. Okay. Now, if I look at the one on the right side, would you expect that button, that circle, to be in the middle of the quilt?
Oh, like you mean literally in the middle and like a little bit more down?
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's not what I mean. But because the way they place it here is that when the flap is closed, it will look like the first picture, right? So
Yeah.
that's not what I mean. What I mean is from left to right, does it look like it's in the middle? That's what I
Mm,
mean.
okay.
Because if it's like, just imagine that button to be, so there's two buttons, right? There's the top button and there's the bottom button, right? The top
Mm,
magnetic and the bottom magnetic. So
yep.
just imagine, right? We're just imagining. Let's imagine the top button a little bit to the right and the bottom button a little bit to the left, just a little bit, a tiny bit. But then when you close it, the flap will be diagonal. It will be wonky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want
Yeah.
that to happen, right? You want everything to be centered.
Yeah. That's a
And
good
you'll
one.
notice like this bag is perfectly fine, which is
Yeah.
why there's no issues. But I'm just saying, like trying to explain that there are
Mm.
instances where you go to the store and you look at a brand new bag and you're like always wondering, why does the flap keep closing a bit wonky? And you're just like, you can't figure it out. Well, maybe that's the reason. Because maybe it's crooked.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good. So these are the details already, right? Like the first section that we were talking about is all about, general. But if you say no, those are not red flags to me, then you come here because you've already decided on the item. Now you check the details.
Mhm.
Okay, next one.
Okay. All right. So this one pertains more to something that has more of a pattern. So we can be lining up monograms. We can be lining up quilts in Chanel. So when you're looking at quilts, you want to look at, generally speaking, whether all the quilts seems to align. So, you know, it doesn't mean that the diamond has to make a perfect diamond from the flap to the body, like the top picture, right? It just means that generally the lines are going in the same direction and in the same angle on both ways because the quilts are diagonal, right? So you want that to look even overall. And then on the bottom picture, you want that pocket where the quilts end to also where it starts on the bag. So again, just the direction of the quilt on both the layers align. So you want that to happen. On monograms, sometimes like when two fabrics are kind of on top of each other, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to align perfectly, but generally speaking, let's say you have a pocket, right? The left side of the pocket and the right side of the pocket, does it look like it's in superposed or in like on top of the bottom fabric? Does it look like um it's not crooked? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Even if it's not the same, say it's not like the same fleur de lis right on top and on the bottom, because sometimes they can't do that with monogram. I'm talking about LV monogram. Um, but as long as on the left side, let's say it's not like on top of a flower, and on the right side is on top of the fleur de lis, so then it's kind of crooked. So generally speaking, you want to look at whether things line up, the pattern of the fabric, um, because a lot of times it doesn't. Sometimes
Mm,
it's a little off, and it's going to be a sore eye. That's
mm,
I think that happens a lot on little SLGs, maybe a little bit less on bags. I think on bags they are usually okay, but I am a very big perfectionist, and I do see those things happen. Again, this is my own bag. It's perfectly fine. um, but it can happen. And for a Chanel bag at the prices they are now, you want everything to line up perfectly.
yeah, Chanel bags in the maybe just at pre-pandemic, there was a lot of complaints about it being slightly off, slightly like you can it's like you can see it, but you're not sure where it is, right? It's slightly like just a millimeter, like oop, you go, something's off with this bag, but you can't tell. Like our
Mhm.
brains are so wired to see things in symmetry, like we can see it, but when it's just that little bit, you can't place it. And if sometimes when you overlook it, you're like, oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah. And that is especially more obvious when the left side and the right side is not, it doesn't look the same, right? It's usually more apparent when the left side and the right side is just slightly off. Again, that's almost like as if it was tilted a little bit. Then you can really
Mm,
note it. You might not notice it right away because maybe you're not that type of person. You're not observant like that, and you never paid attention to anything like that. And again, I am not faulting you for that. I'm just saying that these days we can't just rely on the brand making these bags perfect because they're not perfect. And therefore, as the person buying it, as a consumer, we kind of have to look over it,
mm-hmm.
because once you pay for it, you can't return it unless you can return it in your country. But even in Canada, you can't return at Chanel. So um, you just don't want to make that mistake because it's going to be a huge headache for you to bring it
Yeah,
back and to complain about it. Like nobody wants that. Like your essay doesn't want the trouble. You don't want to go through the trouble, but you probably want to complain about it anyway because it shouldn't be that way. Which again, I'm standing in your, I'm standing with you, but at the same time, I think if we do a little bit of homework ourselves, we can avoid all those issues.
yeah. Okay, next one. So sort of mentioned this a little bit, but
Hmm.
oh,
Okay, so it's kind of similar to the previous one, but it's more about So it's not just lining up, right? Like things line up in this bag, don't they? Does it look lined
Yeah.
up to you? Okay, yeah, it is. It is lined up, right? The pocket is lined up with the lines of the quilts. The only issue is if you put a straight line in the middle going up and down right in the middle of the bag, does it look symmetrical to you?
Yeah.
Well, it's
I'm like,
slightly off. That's the
it's
problem.
like a trick question. I'm like, yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing that nobody noticed because this is also my bag. And like when I bought this bag, it's a funny story. I think I already told about it in my original unboxing video so many years ago now. It's like it feels like a whole decade ago. But I actually bought this bag with one of my good friends, and she was in the store before because we were lining up like at launch, line up in the morning, and I was still in the queue. She was in the store, and she was holding on to this bag for me because she knew I wanted the square, and she was after the rectangle. So finally, I come in, and I was so happy that she held on to me, and I was about to buy it. I look over it, and I was like, "Oh, damn." I'm like looking at my essay. I'm like, I hope you have another one. Do you have another one? And of course, there isn't. Like caviar, black caviar, square mini. Like you are even lucky to get one, right? But then I had to show my essay that yeah, it looks like the pocket, like it looks like it because it looks like the pocket is more to the left than to the right. It's not center, basically. It's aligned. It's aligned with the quilts, but just the way they cut around the fabric, they cut more of the right side than the left side. Do you see it now?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Wait. Let me go away a bit.
It's very subtle. So look at, okay, let me, I wish I could use the cursor right now.
Okay,
If
tell me.
you, okay, go to the first diamond quilt on the left, first on top, the first one. Yeah, go to that little point. Go down a little bit, go down a little bit. Yeah, that one. Okay. See that where this diamond quilt ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now go to all the way to the other side. It's a little bit bigger.
Oh.
So they
Yeah.
cut more fabric to the right side than the left side. You see how like that space
Yeah, there's like a little
before?
diamond here and not a diamond.
Yeah,
There's a little diamond here,
yeah,
triangle here, little one, and there's
yeah,
there's could be there's a smaller one here. So this is a little
yeah,
bit bigger.
yeah. So if you just look at the space in front of the pocket, like the space, there is like a
Mm,
little bit narrower than the space after the pocket.
mm.
So it's okay. My essay says that that's not a defect because it's all handmade. Whatever. I still bought it, as you can see. I've had this bag for a long time now. Most people will not notice this. I'm the
Yeah,
only one who noticed it.
I mean, now that you tell me, I can see it. But if you didn't say so, I would have
Mhm.
just thought that it's because of puff, like just
Ah,
puffiness, right?
uh-huh.
Because it's like it just looks a little puffier on this side. I could, what I would have done is I would have like used my hand and push it a bit. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's okay.
Push it
You know what I
in.
mean? Not push like sort of like a piece of bread, you know, like oh yeah, it's okay. You know, I would have thought that it's not a fault. I would have thought it's the puffiness of it. So it's sort of like, you know, adjustable, like a piece of bread, like boop, 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 oh, okay, you know. I wouldn't even have noticed it, but if I did notice it, I would have thought it's puffiness.
Yeah. This, you could argue that it's a bit minor. I think for me, again, because I come from a sewing background, just imagine if that was um, just imagine if that was a pocket right in the middle, like if they were to make like a very interesting design and they put a pocket in the middle of your chest, right? But it's slightly more to the left, then it's not in the center. You know what I mean? It's just
Mm.
kind of weird. it's still workable. It's still fine. I can still use this pocket. Nobody sees the back of the bag anyway. And if I were to sell this bag, which I wouldn't, nobody else would even see it. I know that. But these
Mm.
are some of the things that if it's worse than this, then yeah, do pay attention because it could be more crooked than this, and you may have not noticed it at first. It's kind
Yeah,
of funny
because
because
you're
I
right.
use this
Everything
example
is
so much.
aligned.
Yeah, it's aligned. Yeah,
The
yeah,
it's like if I put a ruler for each of the quilts, it'll be like straight lines. It's just you're talking
yeah,
about the bag itself, beyond the
yeah,
symmetry, beyond the first couple. Yeah, wow. See,
yeah. If you fold
hard.
this bag in two, like if you were able to fold this paper, it wouldn't
Mm,
align
yeah, there'll be a
because it's
little bit
not
more on this
completely
side.
symmetrical. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a hard one. This is a hard
it's a
one.
hard one. Mm.
Yeah.
Oops. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Glazing. Oh my gosh. Glazing. Do we remember with LV many years ago when we used to all buy LV bags and there were so many issues with glazing? And sometimes you could be one of the lucky ones who wouldn't experience glazing issue.
Mm,
Um, I think with LV, it was definitely a moment. They had sort of like a period of time where the glazing would kind of peel off or melt and become sticky. That's really bad. That's really a defect. I think for me, when I look at glazing, you can't really see the melting or the peeling issue until you've had the bag for a long time. So, unfortunately, that's something that you just have to bring back to the store. But what I'm referring to is I still look at the glazing to see that it's painted rather uniformly everywhere because some places can look a little bit thick and other places can look a little
mm,
bit thin or just they missed it completely. Again, with these luxury houses, I'm hoping that they don't do that too much, but sometimes it's possible. I don't have an LV bag to show you, which is why I use my Kelly. My Kelly is completely fine, so don't worry about it. But yeah, glazing is something that I always check in the past, especially when I was into LV. I always look over the whole glazing around my bag to make sure that it's evenly painted.
mm.
And then, yeah, with the issues that they've experienced in the past where it's melting or peeling, that you can only tell when it happens. So that's more kind of down the road. But at the very least, if your bag looks painted properly at first, hopefully that's avoids the issue, you know?
Yep. Yep. And like you said, painted evenly because you in a glaze because the bags like all especially those LV bags have a lot of glazing, right? You maybe you should run your like you sort of run your finger along it because if it's some parts thicker, sometimes got a little bumps, it dried out like a drop of paint. You can feel the bumps. You can like oh, you can overlook it. Of course, might not be a red flag for you. You'd be like it's fine, but if you really really detail actually you should try and ask for another bag like hey do you have another piece because
Mhm.
it's just not perfect and if you have a lot of these bumpy sections because if they rub those bumpy sections it's like you got a little bump right those are the ones that get um I say knocked right.
Mhm. Yeah, 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 yeah. And also because the glazing, it's really just like a paint for the edge of the bag. It truly
Mm-hmm.
is nothing but a paint. It doesn't really it protects the edge, the raw edge a little bit, but it also kind of just is the finishing touch. So just imagine if you did it kind of sloppily and one part is a lot thicker and you can just kind of peel it off and then the whole thing
Mm,
comes off. So you don't want that. You don't want the whole thing to unravel. um, but yeah, I think glazing only really happens on bags that are sewn and then the raw edges are exposed and they don't want you to see kind of like the two fabric that are being sewn together. It's kind of like unsightly. So they paint it over so it kind of looks nice and finished. But a good quality paint, like I think Coach does it really well. Actually, Coach paints their glazes really well. I've never had any issues with their glazing. Haven't had any issues with the Kellys, the Hermes ones. Only really so far, I've only had issues with LV. Um, I haven't bought an LV bag in a long time that has glazing, so I don't have any issues right now. But I have had many issues, and we've heard many issues of people complaining about it. So that's something that you want to look over if it's a bag that has those raw edges. Any brand, really, any brand.
Yeah, Coach does it well.
Yeah, theirs are really good.
Okay, here we go.
Yes. Okay, so zips or buttons or anything, any closures, any of the hardware where it's like a functional mechanism, even a turn lock on a CC logo, you want to make sure that they work smoothly. So with zippers especially, you want to be able to unzip and zip back and feel like it's going smoothly and not getting caught. One way of things getting caught is if they sew the zipper a little bit kind of uneven. Let's say the zipper, because the zipper you have to sew on both ends, right? Both the left zipper. It's not really, it's the same zipper, but you open the zipper and you sew the left side and you sew the right side. If the fabric is just a little bit off, then your zipping will feel a little bit kind of just hard, kind of you always get caught somewhere. So you want to try all your hardwares both ways. Go back and forth, right? You want to try your buttons, make sure that they button properly. You want to try your turn locks. Sometimes I found some Chanel bags where the turn lock can feel like a bit springy or maybe a little bit hard to turn. Like if I'm just not comfortable with it, I will just ask for another one and just pick the best one of all of them. Yeah. I will say I haven't had so many issues with hardware so far. The only caveat is if I don't like the smoothness of a certain bag, like a lot of bags that go kind of like the moon shape, kind of like going down and then you zip kind of around, kind of like the smiley zip. I hate those. So if I can't get over the unzipping and zipping of that shape, I won't even buy the bag. So it's just more the design, I suppose.
Yep.
But it adds to your frustration when you use the bag. So do you want your first bag to be so frustrating to use? Then, kind of like just test it out when you try on the bag.
Yeah. I think for the zip, I think most of us, when we get our first bag, we'll always, it's like the first thing to check, right? Among the other things, but it's like, oh yeah, the zip is very smooth. But there is also beyond just the zip. So this is a good example, actually, the one that you picked. This new version of the Palm Springs mini backpack doesn't have the lip over the zip. And it's done that way because of the design and style. Like the versions that we had that additional canvas covering the zip. And yes, the zip's really smooth, but you should also take note of how the zip is moving around the leather, because I think a lot of people eventually over time, because of the zip unzip and the zip scratching against the canvas, they got damaged. Like that lip got damaged. And I mean, you could get over it by flipping, like as part of, sort of like compromising because you love the bag, which is okay, which is what we didn't notice it, right? I didn't notice it until I had it. But I guess in my head, the way I handled it naturally was maybe somehow my thumb held the top of the lip when I was opening, and I didn't always open and close it. So I actually didn't get any of that wear and tear on the lip. But for a lot of people who don't notice it, they just zip like a backpack, right? You never think of it. You just open it. So they did a redesign. They removed the lip, but I still see a lot of bags that have it. The bum bag is the bum bag, the LV bum bag, the one that it first came out, had the lip as well. But somehow that bag, you sort of flip the lip. Yeah. But it's a compromise, right? It's a compromise. So yeah, smoothness, where the zip is placed. You see, that bottom zip has that lip over it, but just that you don't use that bottom pocket very much. So you might not get that issue.
Yeah. This one, especially for me, I am notorious for hating bags with zippers. And yeah, I still have some bags with zippers, but I will tell you, I don't favor zippers in general. And like with this bag being redesigned, I think it's a better way to make the zipper work. But yeah, sometimes going the other direction, like I said, like the moon shape going downwards and then up, that, oh my gosh, drives me crazy. And I would never buy bags like that ever again.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, since we're looking at this bag, let's talk about symmetry. Like when I look at this LV bag, even though they're not like, okay, let's look at this fleur, this
Mhm.
pattern here.
Yeah.
Even though it's not aligned, but when you actually sort of like look at the bag overall, it's sort of in line because
Yeah.
it's got so much. You see, you can see all the flowers going in a straight line here. The LVs going this way, LVs going this way. They have to. It's almost like a trade off to ensure that when you turn the bag, across, some of the patterns still are symmetry in symmetry, right? Or not symmetry, like
Mhm.
they're lined up. So you got this pattern here, this pattern that goes around top to bottom as well. They're going down. You see, from this way going out, you can see the flowers going this way. You can see the flowers going this way.
Mhm.
So there is a little trade-off with like monogram and logos. But then you take the bag afar and then you kind of look at it. Actually, it's still well done, right?
Yeah. This is okay. I wish we could see the other side because you mentioned the diamond, right? That little flower diamond on the left
Yep.
side. Yeah, that one. Sorry, that one in the middle between the two canvas. No,
Mm-hmm.
go
This
down,
one.
go down, go down, go
This
down, go to
one.
the left, 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 left. Go up a little bit, up, up, up. Yeah, that one.
This one.
Yeah, those two. You see how they're aligned? So if you look at, I wish we could see. So this is the left
The
side
other
of the
side.
bag. I wish we could see the right side. If the right side looks like that, then it's
Yeah.
aligned. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Agree. Like they should look exactly like, so a little bit off, like the flower has like extra,
Yeah.
it's mutated a little bit. So the other side should look exactly the same. And I'm quite confident that they did it. So
Mhm.
it's a matter of like you look at all the details already, then you put the bag afar and you go like, okay, not too bad, not too bad. Turn it up. With many of these logo ones, right? You actually have to look like afar a bit.
Yeah.
Good one,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
one.
It's funny
Wow.
because Annie's comment. Okay, I'm gonna put her comment. You know the amount of time that I showed my bag. I feel like I'm sabotaging myself. But you know what? To most people, it's true. To most people, it looks completely fine. And I will say, like I said, I still bought it in the end, right? It was the last one. I still bought it. And I'm still glad that I bought it because look at what's happening right now. You can't even get a square mini, let alone in caviar. Like you can't even get caviar, let alone a square mini. So it's sort of like, okay, handmade, whatever. It's sort
Yeah.
of like a compromise that I had to accept. At the time, I made the decision to accept it and I bought it. And I have used this little square mini I've used so much, right? I travel with it around the world and I still love it. It's still one of my favorite. It was one of my first holy grail in my collection, right? So I'm not saying I regret it, but these are things that you wouldn't look. I saw, like, trust me, I saw it even before I bought it. I'm like, oh, I saw it, but I still decided to buy it. So sometimes you can accept like a little flaw
Yeah.
from your partner or whatever, like, oh, okay, fine, I'll put up with it. But yeah, it's up to you. I guess you make the final decision. Are these red flags okay, a-okay, or not a-okay with you? So you kind of just, take it or leave it. But these are things that you will notice more now, I think, hopefully, after you see this.
Mm-hmm,
After you
mm-hmm. I mean, most of us will not nitpick, and because at the end you must follow your heart, right? Whether you love it or not. So, like, if you were to put your black mini carrier on sale, I totally overlooked a little
Oh,
bit. I'm like,
it would
yeah,
be
okay lah,
sold
whatever,
so fast.
because
Yeah.
you at the end you love it, right?
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is sort of say, hey, we've been through it, so take a look at this, and at the end of the day, if you still go for it, as long as you enjoy it, who cares?
Exactly. Yeah. At the end of the
Okay.
day, if you're never going to resell your things, it's yours to enjoy. It's whatever, like, it's just a material thing, yes, at the end of the day. But yeah, I do wish they had a second one. Trust me, I asked because I'm like looking at it, so happy when I got in the store, right? And my friend was able to hold it for me, but like, oh my gosh, it's just one of those things. Especially back then. Remember, back then you always had to line up during a launch, and it's first come first serve. So it's like you either buy it or you don't buy it. Because if you don't buy it, the next person right behind you, who's like literally looking at whether you're gonna take it or not, will just buy it. Trust me, that's just how it is.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull some comments. Remember to put some question marks in front. A bag, so from Chris Tan, a bag I will avoid is the popular summer bags, which are those straw bags that rub against our dresses and cause significant wear and tear. Yes. So this is that material, right? So we buy, again, high maintenance bags are not necessarily a bad thing, but if you have like Joe's word, fantasy self, sometimes we get blinded and go like, oh, if I can use it this way, and we get those a little bit more tricky to manage. I agree. Straw bags are, I feel they're high maintenance. They seem low maintenance, but you got to think about dirt getting between all the crevices and all that. Like when I was young, living in Kelantan, my mom used to have these kind of rattan chairs, so gorgeous looking. But I remember, you have to clean like through all those weaves and oh my gosh. Yeah, so bad. So high maintenance, yeah.
There you go, Anna. I'm more at the bottom. Anna says, I rejected a dream Chanel 19 tweed bag because the turn lock was slightly askew. It's one of those things like you arrive, you find your dream bag, but it's not perfect. I think sometimes it's better to walk away. In this case, it was for you. So yeah, bravo on your decision. But yeah, it's just one of those things that at least you saw it. Some people might not even have seen it.
Now I remember one thing to add about the turn lock. Have you ever experienced, not Chanel, but any kind of turn locks? Like when you turn it, it has this like sound.
Yeah,
It's like the
springing sound.
springs.
Yeah,
it's the mechanism sound. And I swear, I'll be like, and then essay will be like, oh, you can add a little oil. And I'll be like,
I hate it when they like give you like the solution and it just sounds like a little.
and
like,
and if you in that moment of euphoria because it's a dream bag, you might like, oh yeah, put some 40 what WD-40 on it. It'll work. No, not for a luxury bag. Okay, if it's $20 or whatever, okay, fine. But WD-40 on your turn lock? I'll give you another one for the zip. And I have personally experienced this. I'm trying to I can't recall whether it was
is it candle wax?
LV. Yes, on the zip. Was it? Let me think. I have this recollection of the essay, like ticking candle. It was LV. Yes. Okay. Yeah. It was LV. It was on my Valisette BB. Okay. Now I remember because I have this recollection of the bag. I just couldn't place it. My essay took the version which I didn't buy, but because the zip wasn't perfect. Okay. So I was like, oh, it was like a bit like a bit like cranky.
Yeah.
And my essay it's like, oh wait, let me go back to the storeroom. Okay, storeroom. And I don't know what they did in the storeroom. Maybe like manhandled a bag and zipped it and then come back to show it to me, right? Because then it's perfect. But when it came back, it was a little better, but it was waxy.
Yeah.
They use candle, which is which on regular things, okay, regular things like your dress, your $5, fine. Put some candle there, but it's no, not for your luxury bag. Like no.
It was such a common thing that they did at LV, I think. They're like, oh yeah, let me just like go wax it a little bit. I think, If it's really minor and they wax it and you don't feel like they did anything, then it's okay. But if you still like it's still kind of hard to kind of go over it, but just a little bit better,
Like
it's
a
a
little
red
gritty,
flag.
you know, like it's like it's just that you
Yeah,
know it, right? It's just a little gritty. Wow, it's
because you're the one who ends up using it every day and opening it several times every time you need to grab your phone or whatever. You're the one getting frustrated. They just need to get you to think that it's okay now once, but you use it after that every single day, right? Or however many times you use it. And it's kind of like shoes too, in a way. Like, oh, they say, like, oh yeah, just put an insert, or like add some
yeah.
like padding in the
Oh my
back, or
god.
like a
Oh my
something,
god. Oh my
like.
god. Yes.
And it's just like, yeah, the insert worked while you try it for like 2 minutes, and you're not even walking anywhere, just like 10 feet. But once you walk, like you're really doing some real walking, and like that insert's not gonna stay. Sorry, it's like not gonna be comfortable. It's like an extra piece that's not supposed to be there. I'm just like I just don't even buy shoes anymore. That if it doesn't work right away, I just don't even buy it. I don't bother. So it's the same with
Mm.
bags too. Really, maybe bags doesn't have like the like kill me uncomfortable thing. Like with shoes, if it's uncomfortable, you'd like just kill me now. But with bags, it's more the frustration, and you want to avoid that because you
Mm.
may not have seen it coming, but it will come. It will come.
Mhm.
Trust me.
Yep. Wear and tear. So yeah, the funny that you mentioned insert. So there is this pair of shoes that I tried in store at Chanel, and I'm always a 37 and a half. So I asked my assay to get a 37 and a half for me. But somehow when I tried it, one side was more like loose, right? So my assay's
Yeah.
like, oh, try an insert. And I was like, oh, really? So she puts an insert for me, and I'm like, oh yeah, it fits better. But it just didn't seem right. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So in the end, in the end, I think I insisted, like, do you get me a smaller size, and they don't have, and it's the trouble that the essay has to go through, because it's like, oh, we don't have, and then you're like, do you want to buy lah? Don't want to buy. Then they're like, oh wait, let me check another store, which they can, but it's just they want you to buy it there and there with all these blasters. Maybe in that moment, you're like, oh, I guess it's okay. No, not
No.
okay. Not okay. Because they're expensive now.
Yeah. Insert is one thing. Yeah, actually it happened to me too. A pair of sandals, the ones with the um there's a buckle, and then you remove the strap with the buckle. But the strap goes around the ankle. It's kind of like a sandal, right?
Mm.
And for some reason, that pair also, one side was looser and one side was tighter. But it's the buckle part, right? So if I buckle it a little bit tighter on the left side versus the right side, then the buckle is uneven. That strap is uneven. And also, even when
Mm.
I fix it that way, then now the left side is too tight and the right side is just tighter. It's just like, no, give me a brand new pair. Like, this pair is just not perfect. It was not made perfect. Like, it's just something uneven that the craftsman did. And I just can't accept it. Like, I'm not paying $2,000 for a pair of Chanel shoes that just doesn't perform 100% to begin with. Like,
Mm.
we're not talking about like, oh, $100 shoe going on sale for $50. We're not talking about that. Maybe I would settle for that, but even then I might not be. We're talking about a pair of brand new, no sale, no discount, $2,000 shoe. No, I'm not settling with one side has to buckle more, the other side less. Like, it's just not happening. It's just not
Yeah.
happening.
Cannot settle. Cannot. Now cannot. So which is why the red flags are like, you have to be really sure. You just got to be like, if you're already like picky in the past, like now is the time to be extra picky, because it's just insanely expensive. And it will be a miracle if things started to be really cheap suddenly. No, it will not happen. So yeah, be extra extra picky and pushy, because sometimes you got to tell it, no, I'm just no, and walk out. Say no. Tell yourself as well, right? Be okay with it. This is a good question, actually. Yeah. Are there any Hermes red flags? So okay, so I said influencer bag, right? So there is also those, if you're not talking about bag per se, actually, I'll give one example. Those influencer, not influencer, it's just like it's so popular, those click clacks. They were like, they're everywhere. Everyone has them. Okay, no, maybe I said most people will have them, and they're tricky to use. Tricky if you just don't have the right hand size. They just look off, right? Off, and they're a great piece, like great starter piece to buy when you're starting your collection or starting your pre-spend. It's just like, oh, so many colors, so many options, so many things, so colorful, everything, and so many designs, but they just don't fit right. They're just like oddly shaped. Oh, not odd. Just such a fixed shape and size that if you don't have the hand for it, the wrist for it, they're just not nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're the click clack one, the hard bracelet, right? Those ones, they have limited sizing, I feel, because you and I, right? Even if we bought the extra small in that one, it's still quite big. I think they don't even come in extra small. It only goes to small, right? That one?
I think so. Yeah, small.
Yeah.
PM, like PM.
PM. Yeah, PM is small.
Bags.
Yeah.
Flag
I think
bags.
for Hermes, I can't think of for any bags, but I think I can think of shoes, because I've tried so many types of shoes at Hermes that I was just like, oh my gosh, this is not happening. And it's more about, it's kind of weird. With Hermes, it's kind of funny because some of their shoes are really wide. Like the Orans for me are quite wide. Even the sheep sandals can feel quite wide, but some shoes are super narrow. I tried some boots that are really narrow. There were some sneakers, like the front, like the toe box is quite rounded and narrow, and just the shape of how my toes are, it was just squeezing them, pinching them, like from top to down, left to right. And I'm just like, I already sized up to a 38 or 38 and a half, and it's still pinching me, which is the strangest thing. Like when you size up a full size and it still doesn't work, don't settle. I think that's what I've learned, because yes, you want to do the pre-spend, you want to buy things that looks appealing to you. Sometimes they could be even kind of popular, like Oran sandals are extremely popular, but they just never worked. And instead of forcing yourself to make them work and then just suffer, I'd rather just pass and just buy other things, I suppose. I think for me, Hermes, for me, shoes has always been kind of tricky.
A bag. I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm trying to go through the Rolodex
Their
of
bags are pretty good.
Yeah, but one bag I feel this is a personal choice. Like I know a lot of people love it, but I think a red flag bag for me is the Her bag. Like that bag is red flag for me. Like I think it can get offered anytime, and generally it's priced okay and it has the whole like looks like the Kelly. What else? It's cheaper. You can get it, and you can get it in multi different colors, patterns on it. But it's a red flag. Just listening to that is already like red flags. You're like, am I buying something as a compensate to something else? And what I've seen on that bag, firstly, it's chunkier, and the handle, the whole bag is a little heavier. Plus, the way that the closure of that bag is really stiff. And again, those essays will try to make you buy it, right? They'll say, oh, over time, it will soften. rubbish, okay? Maybe over a long time, and if you're really using it, but from, people who have reviewed it and they say they love it, but they also say that it's actually quite stiff. You gotta like take it out and put it over that little knob. So that, I guess I can get, pulled into the whole, get a her bag, collect the bag, get it as part of the collection. But it will probably be one of those bags that I feel, for me, I would regret later. What about you?
The her bag, the her bag, I almost bought it. I almost bought it because I found it online one time and I was able to add it to cart. But then I canceled it because I was like, I better just listen not only to everyone who told me about the her bag, or like all the videos that mention the her bag being kind of hard to open and close, really. But I think it was like at the moment, it was like spur of the moment. I was like, oh, I'm able to add it to cart. It's like, so I've never been able to add anything to cart in the past, let alone a bag. And so, but I'm glad I stayed true to myself. I never actually saw the bag because I canceled it, right? And then I also have to remind myself, why do I not buy big bag? Because the her bag is big. Even the smallest size is
I
quite big, right? And so I'm
think
like,
it's
I
like a
have to
28,
remind.
maybe 32. Size 32. Like,
Yeah, but
big.
it's still quite big, right? And
Mm.
so I have to remind myself why I don't buy big bags to begin with, because it's heavy. And like the leather part, I agree with you that if it's still stiff, it will be hard. It will be hard to open and close. You always need two hands, and I don't always have two hands. Um, yeah, and at the end, it's kind of just like a popular bag. I think that's the thing too. Like it's so popular among like as a instead of a Kelly, buy the her bag, like kind of like that. And
Mhm.
so mm, you don't get persuaded by that. Like just get the Kelly. Just get the Kelly. If you want the Kelly, just get the Kelly. Don't get something less than that. Like don't compromise when you have something in mind. And like just stick to it, even if it takes longer. I think that's
Yeah.
the point. Again, I think the her bag works for a lot of people. It's GPS's favorite bag, and that's great. But I think, when I look at my own reasonings for not buying it and just all the past mistakes I've made, it's sort of like I would be repeating all of them if I bought it for myself. So I think you just have to know yourself better.
Yeah.
Whether,
I
yeah.
got I got another one. I got another one for Hermes. But this is a preference. So I see it as a red flag that we may overlook because it's special. A red flag material. So it's actually heritage leather. Now,
Mm.
heritage leather, and the more popular ones are very, very popular, is box and Barenia. I mean, there are many, many. I am not that well versed in all their heritage leather, but these two are popular, and you can get tempted to get them because heritage. Look at the word heritage leather. It's like whoa, heritage, but they're very tricky to use. Okay, tricky. It's the kind that you buy and you love and you keep because it's like vaquera, right? Vaquera leather, vaquera on LV. The Barenia the color will turn, man. It's wow. It's beautiful in the beginning, but I think I've seen some nasty looking ones. I don't know how people use them. Some turn beautiful, deep, rich chocolate brown, but some look so like muddy and blackened. So awful. And then for box, it's tricky in the sense that it's more tricky because maybe the scratches, but you can probably overlook it. But then you can't use it in rain. So rain is
Mm.
it'll get blisters. So if you live like here, difficult. Always rains, very unpredictable. So it's a red. It's a red flag. Like if you don't have if you're not careful or you're expecting something else, yeah, don't go near there. Some of their heritage leathers.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull this comment because after reading it, I thought of something else as well. Isn't the selling point of the her bag that it's reversible and you can get 2 in 1? Okay, first of all, just to answer your question, how likely will you ever turn your bag inside out over and over and over? Like, you'll just use it one way and end of story. That's just how it is usually.
Yeah,
The
net
other
for
thing,
sure.
yeah. The other thing, when I read your comment, I was thinking like, oh, you know how some ready to wear, like a jacket, like the bomber,
I
some
was just
bomber
thinking the same
jacket,
thing.
like, it's or even the wool, some wool, like really, really gorgeous wool jackets, and you can turn it over and have like the monogram show on the back, or you have the neutral side. I mean, I love the idea, but like, who will in their right mind turn their jacket when they've already worn one side and the other side is like touch all the public transit or whatever, like whatever, it's all dirty, right? Pollution. Who in their right mind would turn it over and wear the other side just because of the other look? Like nobody. I wouldn't do it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a germaphobe of some sort, but I just I just can't think of, you will choose one side and you'll wear that side forever. That's how I am. So the fact that it's reversible is almost like useless because,
It's an idea. The
yeah,
idea of it being reversible is it's like, oh, you're getting 2 in 1. Yeah, and
you'll never
this is
do
true
it.
story. You won't do it because I was at this store, Agnes B. Okay, Agnes B. Yeah, so they were having some jackets on discount. So one side of the jacket, bomber jacket, full black. Okay, full black with a very cute dinosaur at the like a stitching at the back, and I was like, oh, so nice, so cute. Woo, woo. And then the essay comes to me. She's like, it's reversible. I'm like, really? I turned around, I was like, oh, the other side has all the like patterns of the logo Agnes B. And she reverses it and she puts it on me. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Okay. Yeah. But obviously they charge you for the reversible, right? But in reality, in my head, I only like this one side. It's a nice idea, but you won't do it. I
You'll
wouldn't do
never
it.
do it. You'll do it the first time you bought it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Probably.
You're like, actually not nice, this side. Wear the other side better.
Okay, we should both answer this question because, oh my God. Okay. Amy, will you accept an H bag that is slightly out of alignment?
Oh, this is good. Wait. Can we just put a note so that I don't forget this? Oh my gosh, I will forget it. Veins. We have to talk about
Uh,
veins. Okay. We'll come back to the veins. But yeah,
Veins?
let's talk
Okay.
about alignment.
No.
Yeah, definitely not.
No. I will say, like, for the Chanel one, it was okay. It was in 2017 when I bought that bag. I was 16. I bought it it's a cruise 2017 bag. So I probably bought it in November or December, right? That's a cruise collection. So it was one of my first Chanel bags, and also at the time, it was I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, okay? Like mini Chanel minis are like so hard to get, like so hard. It's impossible to get, nearly impossible to get. And I feel like even till this day, they're not super easy to get. They're easier, but they're not super easy to get, right? So like you have to put yourself in that sort of thought process, right? And situation. And so that's why I took it. And like also knowing Chanel, they're notorious for many like quality issues. So for me, when I looked at it, I'm like, I still took it, but that was like my limit. I don't think I would go beyond that. I don't think I would do it over and over again. And like with Hermes, especially, I feel like with Hermes, they pride themselves at, they truly not only just make it by hand, but they're very precise. And I wouldn't say that their bags are like 100% perfect, but they're quite near perfect in my opinion. And they do pride themselves that in such a way that if there is a true flaw or defect, they will fix it for you. So honestly, if it was really out of alignment, if I bought it without seeing it, I would return it, send it back to the spa. Hopefully they'll be able to fix it that way. Or I'll just wait. and I'll wait for a second one to arrive, because their bags, although they are coveted and quite exclusive, but you can always wait for the next one. It will come back, right? Like, I know Chanel Caviar Mini, at the time, it still came back, but I don't know why it's so much harder for Chanel for some reason, at least at the time, to buy one. With Hermes, I feel like if you just wait a little, like, because they get shipments, right? Like, if your bag is truly defective or something wrong with it, you just wait and they will get another shipment, and your SA will keep an eye out for you. Like, that's just how I see it. I wouldn't settle for Hermes. That's just, for me, that would be unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree with everything Amy said. When you're paying H prices,
Yeah.
you have to be really, really happy with at least the structure of the bag, because you can't sort of overlook that, and then they'll come with other problems. So for sure, you just say no. Just say no. Okay, let's talk about veins. You know what? Let's talk about veins. Let me grab my Birkin, because this is a debate of do you accept veins? And veins are not particularly only for Hermes, right? But other brands who have leather bags, some of them have veins, and that's the natural part of the leather. But is it a red flag for you? So let me go get my Birkin. My Birkin has veins.
Oh, Kat. You know, it's funny because when you, maybe I'll wait for you to come back. But honestly speaking, I was someone who didn't really, like, I never considered veins to be like an issue, because it's part of the natural skin of the animal, right? That's just leather. You have folds in certain parts of I don't know, like your elbow, your knees, and, like, I don't know, like around here you have folds. So it's just depending on which part of the leather they use, it's gonna have a little bit of veins.
Look at the veins. Can you
It's
see that?
even though, like they didn't have.
but
It's not like all on the left side or all on the right side. It's even.
okay. Yeah, you can see they're
Yeah.
going down, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about, okay, so it depends. Red flag for you, right? So if you're a person that says, I just don't, I can't, I like one smooth piece, like maybe your Birkin, right? Smooth, no, not veinless, and you get a bag that's vein, then that's a red flag, because you see it all the time. You'd be like, oh my goodness, lines. So then don't get it. But then if let's say you're okay with veins, you should actually check symmetry of the veins, like what you're saying, right? Because you see,
Yeah,
mine,
it's kind of like even throughout the left to the right. Yeah.
Yeah. So my story is actually, I just cannot. I looked at the bag when this is my first bag, right, from the store. And when they took it out from the box, I was like, I didn't see the bag. I just saw veins. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, there's so many veins. So many veins. And the essay said, like what you said, oh, that's natural part of the bag. And I swear I did not have the, oh my God, I'm so miserable, because all I saw was veins. I thought, not nice at all, right? But as I sat there and I stared at the veins, I did see what you were saying, right? Symmetry of the veins. And I was like, okay lah, not too bad lah. Not so bad. In fact, they look like lines. But I have actually, when you look at these reseller sites and you see them post their bags, actually there are some veins that are, not to say ugly, but they look
Deeper.
Yeah,
Deeper.
really deep, and they look like, they're cutting like, maybe like one that's here, one big one here. Then they kind of look a little, you just have to see what is acceptable to your eyes when it comes to natural leather. So for me, after a while, I was like, oh yeah, okay, not so bad, because they're not that dark. I have to actually angle it to show you.
Yeah. I can't even
Yeah.
see it. Like right now, I can't even see it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, but it's there lah. But yeah, you have to look at it. So some can be very deep, some can be very big, and they can be like a very weird spacing on the back. They could be symmetrical, like one big one here, one big one at the back, but it may not be a look that you like, right?
Yeah. It's the veins also, I don't think the essays get to see them until they open it with you.
Mm.
Because a lot of times, if they haven't already unboxed it, maybe for another client, and maybe they didn't take it, that's also their first time of seeing the bag. And so all they see really on the outside of the box is that it says Togo, Noir, Gold Hardware. That's all they see, right? So the vein part is like they see it at the same time. So I guess that's your personal preference, whether you can accept a leather with lines, with wrinkles, or not. But that never really bothered me until you made it, like, because when you told me, I was like, you made it sound, which I understand, because that's what you saw, right? That's the first thing you saw, and then you kind of just noticed that, the only thing you noticed right away. So I get it. um and it's funny because the more you tell me, now I'm like, well, now I'm always looking also, like when is my essay opens a bag and I'm like, is there veins in there? But
I
actually
mean, because it's a characteristic of Togo, right? And
yeah,
I think Clemence as well.
yeah, but
But
yeah.
it's what your eyes are okay to accept. It's a little bit like when we're talking about earlier, like multicolor stuff like that. It's what your eyes are can like you like. Is it? Do you really like it? After a while, accept it. You're like,
Yeah.
yes, good one,
I
good
think as
one.
long as it looks even, right? Like again, it's kind of like well, I can't think of, because Epsom is pressed, so it should be it's kind of like caviar. It's a imprinted, right? So it should be perfect. But like what can I think of? Actually, I can't think of anything. But sometimes you can feel on, okay, not Hermes, not Chanel, but like on some other brands. Like I'm just thinking of
Why not?
maybe not even YSL, but just any smooth leather bags, any brand, right? Sometimes you can feel like the leather, especially if one side is the raw suede side and the other side is just the shiny side or the smooth side. And you can tell that from that whole piece of leather that it's cut, part of it is thinner and the other part is thicker. You could just feel it when you kind of handle it. And again, maybe it's just part of where the animal part of the animal is on that leather piece. That might bother me because I'm feeling like the part that is thinner will get creased faster when you use the bag,
Mm.
especially if it's a bigger tote. Um, so I might pay more attention to that. With Hermes, I'm more confident that they will at least pay attention to when they cut around the leather, if it has veins or any sort of these little natural things, that they will make it kind of even, like if it's on one side, it should have another one on the other side at least, so it doesn't look so off. Again, it's just up to the craftsmanship, I suppose, how experienced they are, how lucky you are, I suppose, because again, with these veins things, you can't see until they open the box. So I don't think those are truly red flags, but maybe it's a red flag if you cannot accept it, I
Yeah, it's
suppose.
very personal, right? It's very personal. It's a little bit like the multicolor. It's very personal. Like you like, what I be looking for, like perfection. And there are like your bag doesn't even have any veins. That's actually you can wait for it. You can say I'm going to wait for something that is perfect, and that's a stand. So for me, I was like, yeah, I guess okay lah. Now I'm like, I don't see it, but I know it's there because I remember it. But okay, it's
Yeah.
okay.
I think my bag has some veins, but it's so fine that it's probably like I probably didn't notice it. I think it has some, but not like like maybe there's like a one somewhere. Very fine.
Okay, I'm at the top. So red flags. Actually, good point also. So it's like important points even when buying high street. Even high street handbags are getting really getting more expensive. You used to pay like below $100. Now they're like in the 2, 3, something $400. I remember the endless wonky Chanel bags of the past 2 years.
Chanel. There was oh, did I ever show it? No, I don't think. I might have just taken pictures of it and then I showed it to my friends. But there was one year. Do you guys remember when I went a little bit too crazy buying the nano bags? I bought so many, okay? I bought so many, including the one that has the hook. You guys remember the one with the hook?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a good one.
So, okay, that one, you know, with Chanel especially, back then when your essay is able to, you can kind of do phone orders still back then. Now you can't even do that. You have to be in person there. But like back then they would still do phone orders. So your essay they would get you your item, you pay for it, and you go and pick it up, or maybe they send it to you, right? So that one with the hook, I paid for it in advance without seeing it. Obviously, the only thing I saw was like one picture, which, you know, sometimes one picture you really can't see all the flaws on it. Especially when your essay is not very good at taking pictures, like they're very blurry. And so I just kind of like, you know, you kind of almost blindly go into it, just trusting your essay, picking a good one for you. But when I went and picked it up, there was two issues. First of all, the hook, it was not installed. It was installed crooked, basically. It was like, you know, the hook was like this, and like it would be installed right here. So the hook would be a little bit kind of tilted. So that was issue number one. And then I think the other thing, because the first one I bought was a black one, and like there was something around the black leather. I can't remember. I think maybe there was like a crease in the leather or something, which I couldn't see because sometimes you can't see that in a picture. So because I already paid for it and there's no refund. You can exchange one time, but there's no refund. So I was there to pick it up, and I was able to refund it, no, not refund, take the credit back right away and buy the next available same item that they had, but in pink. So I ended up with a pink one, remember? But yeah, those are things that at least back then, there were so many wonky little things that even I didn't notice that the hook was installed a little bit more tilted, because when you put, like, I think you took a picture of the bag on like you know, those jean loops. So the hook was installed on like the jean loop, and it looked fine when I look at the picture. But to me, I know the hook is a little tilted, so it's just kind of like sitting at a different place on the hook, even though it's sitting on the jeans. But it's just like, you just know the hook is tilted, right? So yeah, and plus the creasing, it's just like you know, to them, I know the essays, they are kind of between a hard place and a rock, because they want to satisfy all these clients, but at the same time, that's the stock they have, right? If they're working with a limited stock and they deplete because all the stuff gets sold out and then they're left with just a handful of items, it's like they you either take it or you don't take it, right? And the part that is really frustrating, and I say that again and again, is even if you didn't take it, you refuse it, someone else still buys it. That's the reality, and that's very, very sad. At least with Chanel, they're able to do that. I don't think all the fashion house is able to do that. I don't know why Chanel has this sort of like virtual popularity, but also kind of demand for it. Even if it's flawed, people will still take it. I was one of those people. So like, it's just one of those things where Chanel can do that. Chanel can do that.
Yeah.
And they sold a bunch of very wonky things. People bought them. So
yeah, and you, because you don't see it, you don't know. It's like you don't know what you don't know, right? Until it's too late and you have it and you're like, and some people will just say, it's okay, I'll deal with it.
yeah.
So yeah, you're right, they have different kind of pull.
And you
Okay.
know what? With the hook thing, that was the first time that they made a little SLG with hook. So I've never seen any other previous ones where I could like think of all these. I'm the one who can actually see those imperfections, and I didn't even see it. So it's sort of like you really have to have some sort of experience, and I didn't see it because I didn't think of it. I didn't think that the loop was here and then the hook was like that instead of like that, it's kind of, now I know.
Okay, so I'll pull this from Annie. Yes, I agree with you, Kat. Influencer handbag is better to wait for it to die down and see again if one really still wants it. In fact, I do this with all handbags nowadays. Yep. I guess with all handbags, we should do it. It's like a general rule of thumb. That initial craze usually dies down. But if it doesn't, then it's a sign that you actually really like it. But with influencers bag, because it's so in your face, there's this almost fog. I think you're like, I can't stop thinking about it. Oh my gosh, I need it. And you might mistaken that for actual interest.
I'm wondering,
Ooh.
so okay, who agrees who agrees that it's a good thing that I bought my mini even till this day, because you can't buy it anymore? Yeah,
I
I think so.
agree.
Yeah, so some things are okay, like I do think that most people, even you, Kat, like I'm pretty sure this is the second time you're seeing this, or maybe the third time, and you still didn't remember.
I'm sure you told me a couple of times. I'm like, where is it? I don't see it. So
yeah, it's sort of minor. It's sort of minor, yeah. It's sort of like, if you think about it, and it is kind of a quality in some people. You know how like some people have like a crooked smile, like Jim
yeah.
Carrey or whatever. Like on them, it looks perfectly good. Like they need that. They need that kind of like quirkiness, and that's just their signature. So this is my signature on my bag. It's a little bit off to the side, and it's
You got extra
imperfectly
space.
perfect that way.
You got extra space. Oh, this is actually a good one, huh? So this is a compromise red flag. When I think of the Kelly pochette. So when I'm very tempted to get the H Kelly pochette, but I know without the strap and top handle, it's unlikely I will use it much. So the Kelly pochette, if you're getting the Kelly pochette as is, like you love the design and you think that's a great addition to your collection, then obviously it's not a red flag. But if you're getting the Kelly pochette because it's available and you can't get the mini Kelly, and you're thinking, oh, I'll add a handle, I'll add the strap, I'll add the tweely. No. It's a little bit of this compromise thing, a bit like the her bag, right? It's this option. Though obviously Kelly pochettes are really hard to get now, but there was a time where everybody would get more. There was always these tips, right? Oh, if you can't get the mini Kelly, get the Kelly pochette because it's a cheaper bag, bigger bag, and all that, and you can add this the long twilly to make it more usable. People were styling it with that long farandole chain as well, and all that, just to make the bag more usable than what it is. It's a pochette. It's a pocket. So this is like a little compromise. Obviously, if you like the pochette, then that's the bag for you. But yeah, I think most of us are thinking that it's a good alternative to the mini Kelly.
Yeah, it's a hard one, this one, because I think because Kelly's, just like Chanel in general, has that allure. Like Kelly's in general just has that, you don't know what it is, you just like the Kelly, whatever shape that it is. And so it almost feels like you need to collect all the shapes and all the sizes.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that yeah, if it was not a Kelly, you wouldn't want to start adding the strap, making the twilly, da 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 da. Like to you, it's like, why would I do that? Like that's just like, why do I need to buy all these things to make it into a bag that it is not? So you're only doing that maybe because it's a Kelly, and maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay, but yeah, I think that this one for me, it's a little hard because on one hand and on some days I'm like, oh, I really want a Kelly pochette, and then on other days I'm like, no, 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 don't even go there, like you're gonna hate it. The handle is like one of those that slide in and out, so it's not even like the ones that you
It's not
can
even a handle, it's like a
easily.
slip.
Yeah, so it's sort of like it's really just a clutch. And Amy, you've tried so many different clutches, you're not a clutch person. It's just like, why are you even doing it to yourself? But I kind of flip-flop, right? I think it's just because it's a Kelly and we want a
Mm-hmm.
Kelly. So
Mm-hmm. You then again, like Joe said, fantasy self. Like, are you gonna use it? That's a red flag when you're imagining. Oh, I'm gonna use a clutch. I'm gonna use it here and there. That on its own is a red flag. You're justifying it for this being that happens maybe once every 5 years. Okay, that's so sad, but it's true, right? How many times do you use a clutch? I don't use a clutch. Give me a strap. Do a handle. Let's see.
it's like, I wish Hermes would just do the Kelly pochette size in the mini Kelly.
Oh
It's
wow.
like,
Wow.
come on, Hermes, you can totally do it. Okay, like you can totally make the Kelly pochette in Epsom that same size, but also with a detachable strap. So it's really a mini Kelly, but bigger, the same size as a Kelly pochette, and like it's like perfect. Because we
It's
all
like the
complain about the mini.
east-west.
It would be the best, yeah. The mini Kelly is too small,
Yeah.
but we still all love it. I know. But if it was just a bit bigger, just like the Kelly pochette, with a strap,
Wow.
so good. They
So
should just
good.
do that, and they will probably do it one day. Like I don't know when, but they'll probably do it, and we all have to buy it. Except we already collected all those other ones.
Like the Constance, right? Constance, the
Mm.
square, right? And then you've got the Elan elongated. So can you imagine the mini Kelly just elongated a little bit? Wow. It'll go to the ultra VIPs only. We'll just have to pick the
I know.
picking years later. Okay, Joe saying I used to have I have a watch strap in Barania. Yeah, if you want a Barania, like go get it in small SLGs. Mangled it, destroyed it, trashed it. It's so because your hand has oils and all this like humidity. Wow, it just doesn't look good over time. I mean, on SLGs, on small like straps, enjoy it there, but with a bag, it's
Yeah.
just a lot, and it's like an investment. It's not to say no good. Again, personal preference. Oh, I'm gonna pull that one. It's the last one from Maria before we pull Fergie's. Oh, Annie and Fergie's one. So Hermes will err on the side of quality of the leather versus wasting leather during the laser cutting process. So veining is a matter of personal preference. Yeah. So I think they really try to fully utilize this big piece of leather that they would probably buy. And yeah, so I mean, it's sustainable. They're really into sustainability also. I have to. Any talking about shoes, I was told by my essay, not sure which brand, that we have some slight small differences even on our own feet. Is that so? I'm still thinking it's true. My left foot is slightly smaller than my right.
Yeah, same here. I think if you just think about if you're left-handed or right-handed, then
Mm,
you're most likely more strong on your dominant arm or hand. So even like your little muscle, like your muscle might be bigger on one side. So I think, we think that we're symmetrical, but if you really like, took a picture and then just like copied it to the other side, it's not. It's gonna look
yeah.
so weird if you're completely symmetrical. So it's kind of the same with the size of your feet or the size of your muscle or the dominance and the strength on either side. I think you will still notice it though if the shoe really isn't properly made, because again, when I brought up the example of the sandal, my left foot
Mm,
is already smaller, but for some reason it was still tighter than my right side. So you
mm,
already know then, because my left is smaller, but it was tighter on that sandal. So that's kind of weird, right? The fact that you have to adjust it to make it bigger just to match the other side. So um yeah, it was really not just my feet, which everyone's feet is slightly different. It's really the shoe. They were
mm.
unevenly made. Yeah.
This bag, okay, so let's pull this one. So Fergie's asking, what do you think of Valextra eyesight bags? Would I term this as influencer bags? Uh,
Mm, Um, I mean, I can tell you that I haven't noticed this bag here very much.
mm,
So if I saw it on someone, I would just think, "Oh, okay, it's a bag." Like I wouldn't think anything really, um, like anything special. So Fergie's question is, "What do you think of it?" Okay, I just think it looks like a generic brand, like a generic bag. Like it doesn't look too popular or like super recognizable to me. At the same time, it doesn't look like a bad looking bag. I'm sure if I examined it closely, like actually handled it, put my things in it, I would feel a certain other way as well. Because again,
mm.
I've never even like tried. I never tried this brand, so I don't really know. Um,
Yeah, I've seen a few unboxings of it from some YouTubers. Yeah, just looks like, it reminds me of like gives me a bit of like Laura Piana vibes. Like it's understated, nothing, or not, no, maybe not Laura Piana, like Delvo, very underground. If you know, you know. Whether or not it's luxury, I cannot recall, but I think it's not that. And maybe it's like higher end contemporary. No, actually, I think it's the luxury, but they are maybe not the super expensive one, but still pretty pricey. Like Delvo is really expensive. I'm contradicting myself. I'm trying to find a brand that is in their price range. They're above, like they're pricing above the million. They're like
no, it's a lot more. I think I'm looking at this one, right? The Valextra Eyesight Fold Over mini top handle. The retail is 4,807.
yeah. So
It's
they're
quite
like a YSL level. Yeah, they're like Delvo, I guess, right? Delvo pricing.
mm,
I haven't seen the bag in
Elbow is
person.
still higher,
Hello?
They're kind of 4,000. More, maybe like
Like YSL?
yeah, or like Prada, maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, why sell? You know what? Let me just go to their site and look at all the bags and see like generally how much they are. Except, okay. Okay, actually, they're quite expensive. Let me just share my screen.
Mm.
If I can just share it. Okay. Okay, do you guys see?
Oh yeah.
So it's in Canadian. This size, which is the micro, this micro is pretty small, right? 5,200 before tax. It's pretty expensive. Yeah. This size,
Mm.
5,200. Construction wise, I mean, looks fine. Looks like some sort of Epsom or like, oh, that's
Oh
cute
yeah.
actually.
Red flag. Red flag. Very hard to clean.
But it's cute.
Red
I mean, I know we all get kind of like the moment you see like raffia, it's like, oh, exotic. But
tag.
yeah, see this one, raffia 7,007. It's expensive, actually. It's very expensive.
It's like Mona. Yeah.
7,700. Oh my gosh. And the leather one, 6,300. It's
Yeah. No.
expensive, actually. And this is the mini. So mini retail 5,800. I want to say they are kind of up there. Okay, see,
Mm.
belt bag 1,900. It's very small though. It's like a nano bag, right? Um,
Extra.
I almost think that they are same level as that minimalist brand. I forget now. What's it
Yeah,
called?
like the
The
Laura
Row?
Piana. The
Yeah,
row.
or like
Laura
the
Piana. That
Row.
kind of stuff. Trying to carve themselves out into this segment.
Because you see, like this one, why is it more? Oh, because it's wavy. 8,700. This one. That's quite. This one is quite up there, right? It's still a mini. Um, okay, let me just see. Like, what's the most expensive one? So 8,700 we just saw. Maybe just the bigger sizes, I guess. These are still
Mm.
small.
Is it only one design, or you're just looking at
This
one
is
design?
just the one. This is just the this eyeside design because
Oh.
that was the question. But let's just go
Mm.
to bag collection, right? If we could just go there. Hello.
Oh, that looks like a Birkin wannabe.
Or actually, it kind of reminds me of also not trapeze, but kind of like, but
Yeah,
yeah, more
mini
like the
luggage.
yeah. 7,200. It's quite up there. It's so slow. Okay. This is like a little it's kind of like a boxy
Trick
box.
track.
Yeah. 3,200. Briefcases, 4,600.
Can you go and see? Can you go and click about us in Valextra? Let's just see.
Where would that be?
Maybe right at the bottom or something.
No, I just
Then
said
scroll. There, all the way down. All the way down. All the way down. Scroll all the way down. Okay, you see there the line Weibo a little higher, a little higher. There we go. About us. Let's click on about us. All right, let's take a look who you are.
inspired by the art of
Blah blah blah.
observation,
Okay, go down.
energize, engineering, beauty. Okay, that's it. Start
Click
your
the
journey
start your
here.
journey.
Nothing.
What?
You just go. You just like read these things, I
Yeah,
guess. For
no, don't do it. You don't have a good story. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, it's like they're not making it easy, huh? Introduce. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds like
No.
they're like, oh,
Oh, there we go.
engineering,
There
blah,
we
blah,
go.
blah.
Okay. There your story is. There's the story. 1937,
Okay.
Milan.
Well, everyone starts somewhere like in the past. Inspiration, London, Paris, prelude bag, drawing global style, functional designs, extra value concept, aesthetic, a
Bill extra.
refined
Oh,
aesthetic, val extra is like the extra value. Oh, do you guys see that? The extra value. You see that? The
okay.
name
Yep.
val extra refers to the extra value of every object. Craftsmanship, form, material, innovation, patent, rigid suitcase, light, functional, innovative locking mechanism, recognition, simplicity, patented, coin purse. Oh, okay. Okay, travel, creativity, challenge. I mean, there's a lot. Minimalist influence. That sounds more like, because when I see their stuff, it's pretty minimal. There's no
Mm.
like real logo really. Mm. Oh, the iconic Trick Track. There you go. From 1968. Expanding modern classic. 50 years of excellence, innovative linear K. I guess it's like this material, Kevlar material. I see. Formula One cars, bulletproof vests. Okay, so they're using Kevlar on some of their suitcases. Okay. Birth of an icon. This one, 2000.
2020, 2011, 10 years? That ain't an icon.
Well, they call it that. Let them call it. Collaborations,
Brutal.
expanding toothpaste. Toothpaste? What toothpaste? Toothpaste collection. That's so weird. What? Okay, maybe I'm just like, I have no idea. Oh, in
Mm.
Tokyo. Okay, they're expanding to different places. Reinventing the Trick Track. But every company, right? Like this bag was from like the 1960s, right? When we saw the earlier slide. A lot of companies, they just bring back whatever's in archive. They just try to modernize it, and then it's like, oh, it's back. But look, I think it's just another brand. Well, maybe not just. It's another brand that is, they're a good brand. They've have a lot of history, and they're just trying to survive. Make they're a business. They're just
Let's
another
take a look at
brand.
the Birkin wannabe. Scroll all the way down. All the way down. All the way. Yeah, stop. Okay.
Wannabe.
I mean, come on. It's undoubtedly a
You can't
ins
blame them though. Everyone wants to be a Birkin wannabe,
yeah. So what's this? It's called
but
the
you might still like
Milano.
it.
The Lextra introduces the new Milano handbag, carrying the legacy, okay, of authentic artistry and elegance of its namesake. Yeah, that's just too close for comfort. But it's okay. It's just an interpretation. Like,
But I don't mind it because like sometimes you're looking for, oh, you need a vertical tote for work. You're not gonna go and buy like the MS version of it, which they have some like kind of ugly totes, to be honest. Like some bags at MS are quite ugly, don't get me wrong.
yeah.
So like I would rather buy this and be my work bag, because I will never use a
True.
Birkin as a work bag. Like, just that's just not me, right? So I feel like it's just another choice, another brand out there that just gives you more choices to you buy them for different reasons, basically. I wouldn't necessarily, again, going back to the question, right? Can I stop the screen sharing?
Yep.
Okay. So I like looking at the same question that we had, right? Like, what do you think of the what was it? The
But extra eyesight.
yeah, eyesight. Like, I mean, it's fine. It's just like another like very feminine shape. It's kind of
Mm.
minimal. Like, it might be your jam. I think it's okay. Do I think it's like a lot of value? Not for me,
Mm.
actually, because they're quite pricey, right? Like depending on the wiggly or not wiggly, you could be paying up to $9,000. To me, I don't see value in that, but maybe for you, you like the simplicity. Maybe this brand is a lot more common in your area, therefore you see it a lot. I've never seen this brand here, so it's sort of like to me, it means nothing. Um, but to
Mm.
each their own, I think.
So
Is there?
wait, I'm looking at this comment from D. They have moved out of Singapore many years ago. Is that Valextra or Mona? So I'm seeing because I'm looking at some of the points about Mona and Maria sharing. Is it because I thought I saw Mona? I think you're talking about Valextra eyesight. Yeah, not sure. Anyway, let us know. You can continue to add the chat. But we are at our 2 hours, so thank you for joining us this weekend. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed that. It's really a conversation on general red flags. And again, it's not cast in stone. It's sort of just giving you a another perspective to look at. And again, if they're not your red flags, then they're not. But yeah, this is something that I guess both of us went through over the many umpteen years of buying bags. Okay, Valextra, thanks, Dee. Thank you. So anyway, we'll see the members tomorrow morning. We have some chit chat on pre-spend, and yeah, we'll see you at 8, and I think it's 5 in Canada. Is that right?
Yes,
5.
5
Okay,
p.m.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see you tomorrow and next week again. All right, everyone. Thank you. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.